These turned up at work last week. There was no note in with them. And obviously what they are, they're circular pliers, both internal and external, straight and bent jaw circular pliers. I always seem to struggle with circlips at home. I've got decent circular pliers at work, but none at home. So these are going to come in very handy. Thanks very much, it is much appreciated. The Bergen make. Bergen's quite decent gear. I've got some Bergen impact sockets that I've actually had for years at work. But these will certainly be used all the time. Once again, thanks very much. I'll keep them in my wallet, keep them nice and clean. This is the item I bought off eBay. It's a travel dial. I've got one on my lathe. It was actually Bob, the lad who repaired my travel dial, that found this one. So I think it's only fair that being as well Bob found it, he can have it and possibly work his magic on it. I've got one, so I won't need it, but I will obviously keep the wooden box for mine. This has been loaned to us by one of the lads off the forums I go on to. It's a nose protector for my Harrison lathe, and I haven't got one. I need to make one, so he's kindly sent this in to us so I can measure it up and copy it. I'll put it on the lathe and show you how it works. It simply goes on there, and all it does is protect the taper in the keyway when you've got a centre in there or a drill in there, or you're filing with a collet in there. I need to make one. It'll be quite an interesting job to make one, because before I can make it, I'll have to make a dummy. Make a dummy taper and also make a dummy nut so I can get the threads right and get the taper right. I do need to make a collar chuck for the lathe. I've been going to do one for quite some time, because at the minute I'm using a collar chuck off my old box fad lathe, just held in a 4-jaw chuck. Once I make a new one there again, this will be a good item to give away. Anybody that's got a box fad lathe, that'll screw on. It'll not be 100% accurate, you'll have to remachine the taper on your lathe, but it'll be very, very near. Anyway, I'll get this measured up and get it posted back to you. As you can see, I've converted the mill from being a vertical mill where the head comes out and the cutter goes up and down vertical, into a horizontal mill where the cutter goes onto a horizontal shaft. The shaft spins as the cutter goes on here, the cutter revolves, and the table moves back and forward to do the cutting. As I've said several times, I'm not a machinist, I'm just a mechanic that pisses about. That being said, I've done a lot of work on lathes and quite a bit on vertical milling machines, but this is basically all new ground to me. I did manage last week to mount Bob's milling machine adapter and mill a slot into it. I had quite a few comments saying that the way I had it mounted wasn't very good. I realised that. I had it mounted on 2 little V-blocks. Now I understand, I've done a bit of reading, a bit more research. Things are really going to be tied down very tight and secure to the bed. I'll bring the camera in closer and show you how I had it set up and the way I'm going to set it up this time. Right, the way I had it set up last week, I simply had that on 2 small V-blocks like that, and I had 2 clamps on the bottom to stop the V-blocks moving, and just a strap, then just a strap across the top of there. It did the job, but I could tell it wasn't exactly the most rigid setup in the world. So what I'm going to do this time, I've borrowed a much bigger, substantial V-block. So what I intend to do, the cutter's going to be going in that direction. Is it? The cutter's going to be going that way, and the force is going to be pushed that way. So I'm going to clamp this bar, clamp that bar onto the bed of the machine. That'll go against there, and then I can clamp the job into there, and that hopefully will stop any chance of it moving. First thing to do is to clamp the bar on, and make sure it's square to the bed of the machine. Not rocket science how you do that. Simply put a square on like that, clamp that, and you've got a square reference to work to. So all this is for is just to give the V-block some support, something to push against so it won't move. And also gives a nice square reference point to work against. That's nicely squared up against the bed of the machine. So the V-block is tight up against that. Workpiece goes onto there. A nice substantial bar clamp across the top of there. I've got the piece line at the right angle, so the slots are opposite each other. And make sure that the V-block is hard up against this stop. Right, that's got a good hole. Right, that's going nowhere. This bar, it's actually called an arbor, comes with a assortment of spacers, and there's also a support bearing that goes on the end of it. This all fits together really nicely. This is oil filled as well, as a little oil glass on the front of it. So that's the cutter firmly secured onto the arbor. Right, I've set the distance between the end of the job and the cutter. It's actually 21.5, and there's two locks under here which lock the y-axis up. So they're securely locked up. Once again, as well as I learned a little bit about this horizontal mill, I've learned a lot about SD cards. Don't buy cheap SD cards. I bought a pack of 2 SD cards off eBay. One died last week and another one's just gone now. So I've lost all the video basically in machining the slots in Bob's mill extension. So what I've done, I've remounted the mill extension the other way around just so I can mill a slot in the back of it just to get some video of the machine working. Anyway, I'll set it up, I'll bring the camera in, do 1 or 2 shots of it actually cutting. I've got the machine running at 40 RPM. Put a 1 minute cut on. Power feed. This is a 12mm weight cutter, so it's taking quite a big cut. See, I've got that bolted down fairly tightly, but it's still flexing. I've turned the water off briefly so you can see the cutter working. One thing it is doing is putting an amazing finish in there. This is more than mild steel as well. I think it's only fair that we'll try the thing together. Fits in there nicely. See how it works, the two nuts, pull those two half moons down and that's what locks the spacer onto the actual head. That nips up quite nicely. So I'll probably be pleased with that. He's got this out in the machine to make the same as that here, like a spigot. This goes onto a column and then the motor is actually fastened onto the end of there. So instead of being a spacer by height, it's a spacer that way. That goes on the column and it brings it out into the centre of the table. As I've said, it's a milling machine. He's building himself out of bits. So I got a XY table for him. He's stripped that, rebuilt it properly, taken all the backlash out of it, made a real good job of it. Hopefully when he gets it all up and going, it'll be nice to go down and get some video of the machine working. If anybody's got any comments about how I went about machining this, please tell us. I don't mind criticism, I really don't. As I've said before, I'm just a mechanic that pisses about.
It's probably my fault that I didn't really break the file. Keep it in the pocket because I'll have it out of line. I'm not covered in heat. Okay. So we use that. I think we're getting down to back to basics.
low pressure, so that it's not.
Once again, it just remains to say, as usual, thanks very much for watching, thanks for subscribing, and of course a massive thanks for all the well wishes that are coming in from all over the world for my wife Deb and my dad. It's absolutely fantastic. It's lifted her spirits in the way, it certainly lifts my spirits. It's made a massive difference. Thanks very much.